Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Los Angeles Chronicles, episode 11. Um, yeah, this is pretty cool. Kind of want to do this episode for a while. How to get into credit card debt pretty hard, and then get out of credit card debt if you're interested, and also how to get a low car payment, so people can relate to that, right? But I know everybody has like low attention span, but hey, it's a blessing if anybody listens to your podcast. So if one or two people check it out. Actually, did I was able to help somebody with this just by talking to him. It was somebody not a coworker, but I was the beer merchandiser and he was the Pepsi guy right next to me. We were both vendors, and we started talking about like credit cards and having interest and paying it off and investing and whatnot. So I was able to help that guy out. So yeah, this is more of a help you out episode. But oh yeah, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Yeah, no, I don't care. Like whatever. I mean, it's pretty. I mean, it's just a blessing to have a podcast and like to not care what people think. I mean, I do care what on a certain degree, but not to have anxiety, let it bother you, or lose sleep at night. But it's to entertain people. It's to listen to people. I mean, I like having guests. Not every episode there's going to be a guest. There's maybe one every other episode. But right now I'm booked, man. People are getting more interested, and people are talking, getting into it. Yeah, I mean, like the feedback, and um, it's a blessing. I mean, I'm 42 today, so that's a blessing. I mean, 42 years of straight up suffering, but at the same time too, to look young and to have a job at Amazon with like most everybody is about 20, 24 to 30, and to be able to finish faster than them and maybe slower than them some days. And you got your good days and bad days, you know. So yeah, I got the same birthday as some famous people. I kind of want to mention that. So that's a strong day right there. We got like some actors and businessmen. So a lot of talented. Like I mean, I got like a real practical side to me, and a lot of and also like a wild and crazy side that if you know me since back in the day, you see me do some crazy things, and you have some stories about me. So yeah, Daniel Day Lewis and Michelle Pfeiffer, both like badass actors. I mean, I got the same birthday as them. Look at like Jerry Seinfeld and Master P. Like those guys are both billionaires, you know. So and another person like that was in some kind of Ponzi scheme, like an investing scheme, but I forgot who it was. I just like looked it up one time. I got like really into astrology at one point, and I think I could actually I could guess people's birthdays. And there's a girl that was next to me on the bus. I guessed her birthday one time, and that's a weird thing to be able to do, but it takes energy. It's some kind of psychic intuition or something. But yeah, I used to be more into it, but that'd be a good podcast to get more in depth into that. And I kind of want to say something about oh yeah, like a lot of people are into hip hop, so there's if you're into like underground hip hop, then you've heard of like Necro. He's an underground death rapper. He only raps about like death and sex, and if it's not about those two subjects, then it's about like being a thug or being a gangster, right? So a lot of entrepreneurs are in hip hop, and a lot of merchandise and starting your own rap label. There's a lot of that going on because I follow it. So he had his own rap label called like Uncle Howie Productions and Psychological Records. And it's a pretty interesting interview. He's talking about getting inspiration from like to be an entrepreneur, and he even like read Donald Trump's book before to try to get inspiration. He was talking about Master P. When I'm not even a big fan of him, but he said that he was like step by step teaching people how to do it and get in how to start your own business and have a bigger name for yourself and be successful. But then like Dr. Dre wasn't teaching people how to do that step by step. So yeah, I used to be a hater. They call it like haters or something. I mean, in the '90s it was like No Limit Records. I was really big and with the overkill of it, but that was Master P's deal. So what I respect about him though is he came from the hood, and then he like made it big and rebuilt his hood so the children could play basketball again, you know. So one time we're all getting drunk outside, and it's like one of my friends said, "What's up with hip hop and rap and everything?" And it's about like it's about I come from the ghetto, but then when you make it, and then they make it big, and then all they rap about is materialism. They don't like give back to the ghetto. So what I'm trying to say is he gave back to the ghetto. So hey, I'm still poor like you, but what I'm trying to do is give like free financial, not financial advice, but how to it's more of like survival advice. So we're talking about credit cards, right? So I used to be scared of credit cards when I was in my 20s and I didn't have one. So like, let's go back in time. Here I am at kind of got this written down right here. Oh yeah, I wanted to say something about actually that's too off subject. Let me just get in this credit card thing. So here we are at expensive, prestigious, out-of-state art school, and I got a scholarship for. It was called a Student Opportunity Scholarship for $60,000 a year, which is a lot, and it's more than most of those kids got because of I'll showcase some talents in the portfolio. But anyway, it was we're talking about credit cards, so it's trying to get a credit card when you're like a college kid, and I just didn't get one. And then that was because it was daunting, and I was afraid of like going in debt. You hear about horror stories and everything, so if I could go back in time, I would have gotten a credit card and not used it. So there's credit history, and the history is important because it impacts the credit score. And then there's different factors of how your score is impacted. So fast forward, here we are in college, and then I owed a student loan, and I ended up paying off, like working my ass off and paying off the student loan. So I'm actually debt free with student loans, because that's another scary thing when you're young. Like credit cards and student loans scare people, and then some people don't do it and they just keep their job and they never even go to college. So yes, I did go to college for about 3 years. I went to two different I went to technical college and college out here, Los Angeles Valley College, and then that art school. So yeah, after that I just worked, and then I moved back to LA and whatever. So long story short, when I was 30 years old, I had a serious girlfriend, and then she would give me life advice, and for the most part I followed her advice. She was really practical, really smart. She was a USC graduate from med school, and she was a doctor later on, but I knew we dated like when she was still in med school at USC, like Keck University med school, whatever. So it's time to get tax returns, and most people when they get tax returns, if it's, let's say if you get $1,500 or $2,000, that's a lot. And I mean, I'm single with no kids, so most people blow it when they get it, and they're like they're excited and they're thinking about what they want to buy, and then they end up spending it all in that month of January, February. And she said, yeah, you should have at least $2,000 in the bank, or have money in case you lose your job and all the practical stuff, and then emergency. She was about getting health insurance, and I wasn't about that, but that's a different story. Health insurance. So you have at least $2,000 in the bank, and I actually followed that, and I did it instead of getting a new guitar or whatever. So then she was talking about credit cards, I think. So see, I used to have Bank of America, and then I switched from Bank of America to Wells Fargo. And the reason why was one day I went in there, and the bank teller, she saw my shirt, and it said "Human Beings Haim." And she said, people used to hate that shirt. It was a navy blue shirt, and I had it made in the swap meet, Human Beings Haim. And what does Haim mean? H-A-M-E. My dad made that name up, and it was because he was a misanthrope. So then I explained to her what that meant, and she was really pissed. So then I took all my money out of Bank of America and put it in Wells Fargo. And another guy at Ralph's one time, he said, well, hey, what does that shirt mean? Human Beings Haim. And I said, hey, that's a straight up misanthropic view of society. And he was pissed. And yeah, just people hated that shirt. But don't look at my shirt, man. Look at yourself, So here we are at Wells Fargo, and I went in there, and I think I was reading something. I mean, I was in the Freemasons, and I was learning about money, and a lot of people. I mean, people say it's like tacky to talk about money at the dinner table. Like became like a student of Robert Kiyosaki, and I just got into stuff like listening to AM conservative radio and following stuff like Nerd Wallet and MotleyFool.com and listening to what these Freemason guys are talking about. They're talking about investing. I want to have a podcast episode about investing, so look forward to that. So here we are, Wells Fargo. I'm trying to get I look up get a secured credit card, and I heard that it would be like a credit line if you're a first-time credit user of maybe $300. So then they see how much I have, like I'm good at managing that money that I have in the bank, which I guess most people aren't able to do. And like I said, maybe this is one of my natural skills of having this birthday. This day is of being responsible with money. So here we are, and then they give me a credit line of a lot, and I'm not going to say how much that is. I'm not going to say like personal information, but this is more of a general thing. Okay, here's the credit line. They give me a lot. My girlfriend sees the credit card later on, like the next day, and she's gotten blown away. She's like, "Yeah, you could get a house with this. You could get a mortgage with this," but I never did that. One thing that Kiyosaki used to say would be like, mortgage, like the root word of mortgage is like like mortuary. So you're like basically in debt and you're dying in debt. And that guy is pretty funny, but if you read about him, just think for yourself too, and don't do everything he says. But I'd say get the like proper mentality, but have like a balance. So here we are with the credit card. And then later on, I was a Costco member and a Costco shopper, so I get the Citi credit card too, and it has a credit line, and it's actually a pretty decent credit line. So I was working hard, working at Coca-Cola, and then when I'd use it, I would pay it off, like in a reasonable. I mean, the next week I'd just pay it off to zero. So what they have is like cash advance fees. You could actually get money, and it's not your money, but it's you pay a fee when you do that too. So it's tempting to use it, and I can relate to people that get into it because it's the temptations out there. You're like, hey, this credit line is $1,000. I could do this, I could do that, but um, I actually had the privilege to be around a wise woman that came to me, and she said, "Yeah, you should live within your means." So fast forward, years later, I did get into the credit card debt. So, I mean, I went to Europe with it. Went to Europe and I spent like more than I should, and it took a good year to pay that off. So, uh, one of my weaknesses is like used to do stuff to impress people, like, hey, look at me, and be jealous of me. So at least I'm being honest, but I don't do that anymore. But if people do that on social media, like, hey, look at me and I can do this and you can't, or be jealous of me, like that's a sorry thing to do, but I've done it before. So hey, we went to Europe, but also that could inspire people too, because that can inspire people to travel and get out of their comfort zones too. So Europe's expensive, and you have to travel all the way over there and get the hotels are expensive too. And what else? Bear with me right here. Yeah, there's cash advance fees and APR, and you're gonna learn about that. But at the same time too, it was I don't know if I should say the company. Actually, it was like a really good credit card, and you'd have to, if you were approved by that, then you had to have excellent credit score, and if you spend a certain amount at that time in the time frame, like when you first get it, then you would get all these rewards, and then the rewards actually paid off more than you would think. So at the same time too, that's kind of smart, because you're like, let's say you're a Costco member, and the Costco membership costs $60, but then your rewards are like $80. So then that pays for the Costco membership, and then you have money left over, but you only get the rewards once a year, and you get a check in the mail, or however you want to do it, digitally, or yeah. So Citi's part of Costco, or they have that deal with Costco. They're Citibank, Costco. Yeah. So yeah, life happens, stuff happens. So I mean, I lived in Los Angeles, I lived in Burbank for 12 years, and I did have a lot of roommates. So when I had a roommate, and then had to have a security deposit from the good roommate that I had, and I had to have that money set aside to give that back to her when she left too. So, but at the same time too, like one time I went through like a bad time, and then I had an eviction notice. So then I had to come up with, I think, like $1,900 in 3 days, or I get evicted. So that's kind of a difficult, long story, but I came up with the money, and then that was a cash advance, and then you pay a fee for the cash advance, and at the same time too, that's a lot of debt to have. So I was in that apartment by myself, and I was paying the rent by myself. So another tip is to have roommates, or to have a good roommate that's responsible and have it on the lease, so then they are financially responsible. And but if you live in Los Angeles, that's a tough thing for everybody to be able to get along with somebody, and to even find an apartment. That's a blessing in Los Angeles. So that's another episode talking about roommates, and people can relate to that too. So then stuff would happen, like problems with my car, and I'd have to come up with money, and I'd just use a credit card. And sometimes I would be hard headed with it and be like, okay, I got this. This doesn't bother me being in debt. I mean, I'm stronger mentally. This doesn't bother me. I got this. But at the same time, too, the debt would pile up. So then the most I ever got into debt was like $5,000. I'm just going to say that number. So what I had to do was, let me see, yeah, the eviction. And then also at one point I quit my job. That was, last 2000 yeah 2023. I was unemployed for a month, and then I was part-time at a different Amazon thing for the next month, and then I got back less of taxes because I thought I would be able to pay it off, but I got back like less than I thought. So then here I am in credit card debt again. So yeah, at one point, like I paid everything off to zero, and then I was back into it, and then I would get a guitar or something, and this is what's $100 and $200, $500. I mean, that's a lot of money. It adds up. So what I did was I was back full time again, and then full time overtime, and then I would budget and sell my stuff on eBay. That was another form of income, because like that's money coming in, selling stuff on Reverb. And then I even had to I had to sell my silver and my stocks too, like the stocks to different companies. So I'd say, yeah, do what you got to do to pay it off. So this is basically like how I got into it and how I got out. So it's kind of a no-brainer. It's common sense. Like, hey, what do? Yeah, you have to go to work. I mean, it's not, you can't like live in a fantasy. So it's just being realistic, and yeah, like don't eat out as much as you would. But I went through like a life change in 2019 and became a vegetarian. But one of the reasons why wasn't because to save all the animals. It was because like to save money on food, because meat's expensive. So at the same time too, like I mean, I don't know if I'm like a rare person. Like I don't smoke weed, I don't drink beer, I don't play video games, I don't eat meat. And then people are like, "What do you do?" So your damn business what I do. So I mean, like what do people like have that you don't have to have these things, these luxuries. You don't have to have cable TV. You don't have to have Spotify. These are all luxuries. Like you need a roof over your head, unless you want to be like homeless in LA, and I don't recommend that. So. And then, yeah, it's good to not owe people money. So at the same time too, like the credit card thing was a blessing, because I never had to hit up my mom and dad especially my dad for money. It was more of like, okay, I can get the credit card, but I did stupid things and I learned my lessons. So, but the thing is to not do them again. And I'd say travel, but like plan out the travel more than I did, because I used to just be like, I'm going to Korea, I'm going to Europe, and then if you make a mistake traveling, like if you lose your flight without getting insurance, that's like an expensive mistake. So you don't want to do that. And but I say travel and like not go through your life not traveling. So you know what I mean. The thing that I mentioned earlier about like helping the guy at work, the guy that was like working at Walmart right next to me, we're talking about cash advances. No, not cash advances. It's called a balance transfer card. So what you got to do is if you owe a lot on your credit card, and let's say you have three credit cards, and there's one that's charging you mad interest, like more interest, let's say $20 a month, you can take like what you owe in that whole credit card and then transfer it over to a balanced transfer card. One example is MasterCard. So what I did was I transferred the biggest damn debt that I had on one into the balance transfer one. You're gonna have to pay a balance transfer fee. But I say do it. This is just life experience. This is like for what I've been doing since like 12 years. I think 12 years. So yeah, I didn't know I owed like 0% interest on that card for like a good year. And during that year, you can plan out how you want to pay it back. So if I could go back to 2023 when I started this SoCal logistics thing, I would have paid more on the credit card than I did. Like I would like calculate, okay, half of my money I'm going to use to have fun, and then half of it's going to go to the credit card or something like that. If I could go back, I would have like. And then I said, oh yeah, I'm going to pay off all the damn debt by December, and then that didn't happen because I got injured at work. So then, this is actually this episode is to celebrate me being like credit card debt free, because it's been a good month and it's been nice, So anyway, I would have paid off more and paid it off more aggressively that year, and that way I would have like paid it off probably by September, October, before I had the damn injury. Because when I had that injury, they were paying me like less than what I make, and then I had workers' comp, but that came like 2 months later. So yeah, it just depends on how strong your mind is. Like if it's gonna make your mind move, and that's more of a profound way of looking at it. Like let's say like you're in debt $10,000, for example, and it doesn't make your mind move, and you're like, oh, everything's okay. And then somebody just gives you $2,000, you win the lottery. You're like, oh, everything's okay. You're happy, like you're on a different level anyway, and it doesn't make your mind move. So if you understand where I'm coming from, that's more of a profound way of looking at it. So where I was coming from was from the teachings I study. So yeah, I mean, what does it do to you? Like, let's say if you're listening right now, if you're in credit card debt, like, do you wake up shaking? Do you go to sleep? Like, it takes you an hour to fall asleep. So that's more of like, it's not the damn credit card, it's you. So I mean, I used to stay up for like an hour and a half, just thinking and like kind of stressing out about my job, and then it would take me forever to go to sleep. So come a long way. So yeah, I was talking about balance transfer. I'd recommend that actually. You pay 0% interest, and then those websites I mentioned, that Molly Fool and the Nerd Wallet, like I got those recommendations from I'd say a rich guy from the Freemasons, So most of my friends, they don't know that much about money, and then they're just kind of floating around, and I mean, they don't even have credit cards. And I got one friend, he's got like he's successful, and he's with the job and the family and the car and all that good stuff. So it seems like it's kind of rare. It's more rare than you think. Like and actually, just to be able to go to Europe, that's like I talked to I knew somebody that lived in Paris, and he said most Americans can't even come up with like $300 if they had to. And he said, yeah, you did good to be able to do that. So he said it sucks he didn't come see me, but I mean, I went to Netherlands. I didn't go to Paris. So, and then what else? Yeah, at the end of the day, I got like a credit score. I forgot what it was when I started out, but I've seen it increase, and then at the same time too, your credit line increases, and your credit score, you're gonna get like mail in the letter. I mean, emails saying like where you are with your credit score. So there's I think like 23% of United States is debt free as far as like mortgages and student loans and credit cards, debt free. And being in LA, I heard that, I mean, all this fake stuff you see, it's just like, Not everything, but there's a lot of fake stuff you see, right? So, and then a lot of it has to do with like trust. There's like so many trust fund kids that live here, and then parents send them money and take care of them, and they try to do like whatever kind of art they're trying to do. And then the credit card thing, like I mentioned, a lot of this stuff is just fake. It's credit cards. So, I mean, it's tempting. Like I said, it's temptation. It's not your money. It's the bank's money. So it feels good to be able to pay with cash and be like, okay, here's my hard-earned money, and and I've worked for this, and then also you don't want to spend all your money, but keep a balance. Like go have fun and learn how to save, and I'd say get your credit card, get your financial education, your financial literacy going on, invest some, and then investing. That's going to be a different podcast episode too. What else? Yeah, I was talking about the percentage of the American population. So I think like the middle class. Is there a middle class anymore? On the upper class is like 82% invest in something in stocks and 401k, or 401k is different from investing like what I do. So yeah, the percentage in debt is pretty sad. So there's a lot of people that don't even have checking accounts or savings accounts. So I mean, hey, I used to not even have a bank account too. So that Bank of America thing, that was when I moved back to LA in 2008. That was my first bank account, I believe. So you gotta start somewhere. There's like an uphill battle, and if you don't have a credit card now, if you're my age and you don't have one, then it's kind of more of a loss because of the credit history I mentioned. So when you get that credit score, they have like a circle, a chart of how much you're using and how much like merchandise you're spending, or is it how much gasoline and stuff that impacts your score, like your credit history and then your usage, and then how much you're paying off, stuff like that. So I went and do like what never mind what I was gonna say. So what else? I don't know. I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about, like as far as getting into it personally, my story, and then getting out of it. So you gotta take it seriously, and like also what I want to say is like it's the online banking thing. When you go online and you see how much, I mean, I used to this mistake to not keep up with it, and then that's how you get farther in debt. Like I was like, oh, I want to see how much I owe, and then you look at it and you're like, what happened, you know? So if you're on top of the game as far as like checking it out and writing it down and keeping track of what you do, then you're gonna get better as far as paying it off. And then I wish everybody good luck with paying off whatever you owe. So hey, it's a journey. It can be done, and keep be patient. And what sucks is when you get paid and it's not going to having fun. It's going to pay off what you owe, and like I don't recommend it, you know. So, but hey, I'm living proof, and I got in it and I got out. So most I ever got in was a good $5,000, and then that was my fault. So we got out. So, all right. Well, I got this out there. Got this off my chest. Been wanting to talk about credit cards for a while, and so it's feels good to get it out there. So, music. I want to talk about music a little bit. So some recommendations. Haven't been getting anything new. So I think listen like a new NoFX EP. That's good if you like them. Like their band, like you either like love them or you hate them. And then some of their new stuff kind of sucks actually. And I've been a fan since I was like a kid. So I think the last really good one they had was It's called Self Entitled, and that came out in 2012. So the new EP, like if you like them, then you'll like it. So. And then I listened to like a little bit of death metal today, and I've been listening to like more hip hop, like less of my comfort zone, like the Wu-Tang style, but more of like just whatever they would play on the old hip hop radio. I was just listening to whatever they threw at me, you know. So, and then what else? Nothing new really. And then I heard like some Till Tuesday Voices Carry. I heard some of that today, and made me feel real nice. And And what else? I don't even know what to say right now. So I mean, I enjoyed my guest last time, so there's gonna be another guest on Wednesday. Definitely looking forward to that, and I'm gonna be asking them some pretty good questions and some lame questions too. And then had some more ideas from some other episodes. And yeah, thanks for everybody for listening. And it's been a good birthday. I went to woke up at 5:30, and then had the bowing session, bowed to the Buddha for a good hour with Venerable Shin Miao and at in San Francisco. That was through Zoom, and then kind of went back to sleep because they've been working us so hard. So yesterday was pretty brutal, actually. Like yesterday was like ridiculous, and let's not talk about work, but it was good to be off work today, and glad I didn't I've been doing these stretches. I recommend doing stretches if you have like a crazy job like me. Put more time into it, and then you're gonna hurt less. It's gonna be worth it. So, Juice and Toya, check them out. They have warm up videos and workout videos. I like to get them on the podcast too. I don't know if they'd be down for it, but they're like famous YouTubers. This is underground podcast, man. I do underground comics, underground podcast. Yeah, I'm down. Like I can be bought. I can have commercials on there, but hey, get at me and let's talk, But as far as like me doing, I'm not gonna change like what I'm about though. So, but at the same time too, it's not about like offending a bunch of people, like I don't know, like South Park or something. But if there's a if there's a good purpose, like I mean, maybe this credit card episode helps some people out, So, kind of talking too much, and then we're gonna conclude this episode. Um, Thanks for tuning in, and keep on checking this out, man. It's gonna like to keep this interesting. So I know there's gonna be episodes of just me talking and like rambling on back and forth, and nobody wants to hear it. But I think I have like a lot of good ideas for some guests at the same time too. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So peace out, everybody.